Yes, good evening and good morning and good afternoon and whatever else you celebrate times of the day. Welcome to Football Heritage TV. We're back for the Spurs review. Apologies, last week I wasn't available for the Spurs review, but we're back this week with the Spurs review. And guys and girls, what a great time to be a Spurs fan. 44 points from our last 38 Premier League games. We have now lost 15 Premier League games this season. We're now on 19 defeats in all competitions, and it's only March. Chaps, Dan, Mr. Box Office. I'm going to separate the Dans. Dan, Mr. Box Office, and El Cockerel. Jose, how are we all doing, chaps? Everyone good?
Good.
Yeah, that's good.
Same day, different. Same Tottenham, like they say.
Oh, hang on. Are you trying to do a Danny?
Yeah.
Still in Danny's intro?
Yeah. I thought Dan was going to do it, but I just thought say it.
Unbelievable. Look, guys, we'll get straight into it. Look, it's been an interesting week. It's always an interesting week being Spurs. We got an undeserved draw against Bournemouth. We then beat a very, very poor AZ Alkmaar, and everyone lost their mind, and Ange is back, and Ange ball's back. And then today happened. Let me start with Jose. I've not heard. We haven't spoken for a proper while about this. Let's start with the game today. How did you think we lined up? It was almost like Maddison had a really good game against Alkmaar, dropped. Odegaard had a good game, dropped. Son had a better game against Alkmaar, dropped. What did you make of the lineup today, and what did you make of the team selection in general today?
Good evening, everyone in the chat. For me, I find it really strange when I saw the lineups, because after today we've got a 19-day break. So I thought to myself, why are we rotating the team so much? I mean, if we had another game on Thursday and another game next weekend, I can understand rotation, but I couldn't understand why we rotated today. So many players, and we've got nothing to play for 19 days. And to me, I thought to myself, there's some players that when you've come out and you come into the team, or when you first come into the team, it takes you time to pick up your speed. And I thought to myself, people like Maddison and Bergvall, they've had a run of games recently, and they've really started stepping up and playing really, really well. And to me, I was absolutely astounded that not only that one of them not on the side, but that both of them weren't in the side. So it's dumbfounding. I do not understand the selection today. As I said, there wasn't a game for another 19 days, so there was nothing to protect the players from. What I will say, what was concerning for me as well today, is that Van der Ven was a sub, and that Van der Ven didn't get used at all. So I think there's a bit more than meets the eye with Van der Ven, because if he's not fit enough to play or play any minutes for you, why stick him on the bench? Stick someone else. Yeah. So yes, very, very curious selections today from Ange, and they were my thoughts before the game started. And obviously we're going to talk about the game, but as the game panned out, you saw that the players that we're talking about, they were sorely missed. That first half was, there's not much. Yeah. I'm sure it's going to be shared by everybody. There's not much more to say about that, really.
No. That's cool. I mean, look, let me come to you, Danalist. And before we start, I must just say, congratulations to Newcastle today. What a performance they put in. Imagine seeing Spurs that organised. Nope, I can't. I tried to imagine it for a second, and I just can't. Danalist, like Jose said there, Bergvall. Listen, I think people go overboard about Bergvall, but Bergvall and Maddison, neither of them in the team. Archie Gray goes in, and you've got Gray, Bentancur, and Basuma. Where exactly, Dan, was he expecting any creativity to be coming from?
Well, first of all, evening, Savva, Jose,
evening.
Alex, Dan. Big up to everyone in the chat. Hope everyone's well. Look, guys, this game here, I mean, I thought we would be picking a similar lineup to the game, the other day, which brought us success, right? Brought us a victory. Yeah. It wasn't amazing, but it was better. So I was hoping for more of the same. Wilson to be in the side, scored 2 goals. Maddison played well. I can't say I was shocked, because nothing shocks me with this manager. But what is he doing? Why is he making all those changes? And Van der Ven, why isn't he playing? Like, it's an international break, 2 weeks. I just don't get it. I just don't get it. And when I saw that lineup, I was very worried, because you're right. We had it the other week. We've got no creativity in that midfield at all. What we're doing here? And I'm not surprised at the result at all. I'm not surprised about the performance. It's just the same old issues week in, week out. Ange is not improving anything, and it's just so frustrating that we have to keep watching this week in, week out. And I know we're in the Europa League, but I tell you what, guys, if we play like that in the Europa League, we're going out. We're going out. There's no chance.
Oh, mate, for sure. Look, let me come to you, box office. Look, Alex, I think a lot of people are saying it now. Like, there wasn't a game for 19 days. We don't play for 19 days. We don't play in Europe for 25 days. So this excuse, Alex, that now all the Ange fans are coming out with of just concentrate on Europe. Alex, we're not playing for a month in Europe. Why all the players being rested today?
I can't answer that, Savva, because I've lost what this manager's doing at the end of the day, as far as I'm concerned. I just feel that I just think at the moment, I think Ange is confused himself what he's doing at the moment. For me, it's clear to me at the moment that there is a focus on the Europa League, even though for me, there was a clear focus on the Europa League here in terms of that and trying to manage people's minutes. He's worried about injuries with certain big players like with Romero and Van der Ven, which again shows this highlight of the system and the tactics are not really helping the players as well. I think it was quite interesting what you said before about us, having to run a lot. Even Guardiola said that to Spence. I think someone said a couple of shows before. I think really what happened today for me when I watched the game back, because I didn't really watch the game because I was out somewhere else, which is main focus on what I made sure I did that for this game, to be honest with you, because I'm not really bothered about Premier League anymore. I think Fulham managed the game better than us, and that's been a major problem for Tottenham, which again goes back onto the manager. You see what I'm saying? And I think really you see, I don't think Fulham were brilliant, but they knew how to manage the game when they were really under the cost a little bit in that second half.
Would it be fair, Alex, to say that Fulham look like listen, by the way, I'm not going to go crazy about Fulham. They're a mid-table team.
No.
But they are a mid-table team who look really well drilled. They look like a team. We're currently, Man United are beating Leicester. We're currently 14th in the Premier League table. And is it fair to say, Alex, that we just don't look a team? Like we genuinely don't look like any of the dots are lining up.
Well, it's when there's a team when you've got good combinations with players, right?
Yeah.
And I've never seen it. I've not seen it. Only like by default with certain players because they've got a little bit of a mindset, a little bit. And I just never see it. I've seen it. And by the way, congratulations to Newcastle, a real manager, a real coach, win the Carabao Cup. And I see those combinations at Newcastle. I see those combinations with Liverpool. It just looks like they've been worked on. And for me, it's whether we have our good moments, we're just a moments team. And I just think that's where my problem is at the moment. We're just a moments team at the moment. Even though Tell did have his moment when he got past a few plays in the first half, what else did he do? You know what I mean? Alderbear tried to have his moment, lost the ball, and then that cost us with the goal from I can't remember his name now. And then when you see what we did in defence as well, I didn't see that much of Solanke until the later part of the second half. I didn't see him at all. The midfield speaks for itself. I don't want to reiterate what I've said about the midfield. Bergvall works hard, but like I said before, and people criticised me, said, why can I not give it to him? Why can I not give him credit? Well, games like this today show me why I can't give him credit. You know what I mean? Much of a notchness. And the players that get a lot of criticism, I think there's a good balanced argument for and against Basuma. Everyone's now putting themselves on Basuma now, right? And Maddison, I've got to be honest, you know what? I think someone said something earlier today. I'm not going to mention him. Maybe I'll say his name, Maz, because I like him actually. I think he's quite important to say. I think some of these players like Maddison, Basuma, if they've really got something about them, I'm not saying they've played well, but if they've got something about them, they're thinking, well, you know what? I'm fed up with this. I'm not appreciated as much in this team. I should just leave. You know what I mean? Find a team that actually going to play me to what my strengths are. You know what I mean? Not put me in positions what I'm not good at. You see what I'm saying? So it's just a highlight of why I don't care anymore about this at the moment. You see what I'm saying? I'm so relaxed now, and that's it for me. Because what you're seeing now, exactly, the only thing that we've got at the moment is the only Dago carrot we've got at the moment is Europa League, and I'm still confused what we're going to do in Europa League because I'm looking at Frankfurt, and that's another subject anyway. But
Alex, that's what my feelings are. Alex, we'll get to that. You're covering about 15 different subjects. Let's cover this one, and then I'm going to bring everyone in. I want to hear from Dan, and then I'm going to bring everyone in as a free for all. Just like if we cover everything. I mean, Dan, it's fair to say today, right? The difference today for me was I don't think they had better players than us. I think they're a better coached team. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, to a majority. I mean, if you want to go for just muscle in midfield, then they had now a better team than us. Simple as that. Mm-hmm. But just having muscle on your team doesn't necessarily win you games. Whereas at times it can win you games. That midfield we had out there was just physically weak through and through. And they took advantage of that and dominated that. And then just did the same plans that practically 95% of other teams had done us. They read us like a book again. They read Ange like the book again. And it's just the same thing. And again, I know it sounds like a cheesy saying, but we literally do things off the spur of the moment. Every other team seems to have a plan. Right, get the ball there, then do A, B, C, D. Or if it doesn't quite there, go over to that side or whatever. Yeah. We seem to get the ball and it's like, what do I do now? What do I do now? And I suppose to be a player like that and a good player like that, you need some flair, I would have thought. And we haven't got none of that. Maybe a little bit with Maddison. We haven't got players with capability of doing that. These players definitely need a system that fits them and a plan to work with. And I just don't think we have. Even though it's the same tactics through and through time and time again, it still doesn't seem to have a plan to it as such. Whereas every team we play against seems to have a plan.
Yeah.
Already 3 moves ahead, where we seem to be 3 moves behind.
No, I completely agree. Listen, guys, I don't want to just go around a circle. I'll just chuck out a subject and we can all talk about it. And I don't mind if you all get angry with each other. I find it quite funny. But you don't have to. Look, guys, that is now 15 league defeats this season. That's the first time that has happened since the 08-09 season, which was the season where we had to sack Ramos and bring in Harry to rescue us. So we all remember it very well. Please come back, Harry. I don't care if you're 90 or 100. Please come back. It can't be this every week, can it, guys? Like, as much as I know there's an Ange divide, guys, but surely just from a self-respecting point of view, Tottenham can't keep losing games at this level. We're at a 52% loss rate in the Premier League this season. 52%. It can't go on like that, can it? Surely there's got to be a cut-off where Daniel Levy remembers he's Daniel Levy and sacks this guy. Surely.
It's Savva. It's to do with the Europa, isn't it? That's the only thing. Because we're still in that Europa League. And like, what's there? 10 games left now. The only other option coming in now is Mason. There's going to be a massive inquest in the summer on this season. A massive inquest. I'll be shocked if Ange is still in the job.
I mean, look at it this way. If it's only about the Europa, and I've been one of the first to say, just blow the league out the window and concentrate on Europa. But you don't go and do that when you've got 20 games to spare. You do that when there's a 4-match difference. If he would have earlier in the season rotated players a lot more, you could say there wouldn't have been half the problems they were. But then if he would have rotated players consistently this season, you can make changes of up to 5 people in your team, even though his was 7, and quite nicely get away with it because everyone's had a stable amount of football. He's got his 11, and we know that. But I don't think this is just... It's easy to say now, this is just down to where we focus on the Europa. Yeah, okay. But then what about the rest of the season just gone? Was that just focused on the Europa? Because it's the same mistakes that we're making from, halfway through last season all the way through till this season. So I don't believe it's just because of the Europa, but it's very easy to say now that it is because of the Europa. We aren't in this situation just because we focused on the Europa. We're in this situation because Ange's tactics are diabolical, basically. And now he sort of has the perfect excuse to lose match games and not get the same amount of stick for it because, but I'm focusing on the Europa because we can still win that.
Can I ask you, Dan, though? Let me ask you, and then I'll bring in Jose as well. When I always say this, Dan, there's a lot of sentences that are used in football that, for me, that are just throwaway. They don't actually have any substance. What does this even mean? Just focus on Europa. We're a Premier League club where our players are paid very well. Our manager gets £5 million a year. There's a quarter of the season left. What does that mean? Just focus on the Europa when we're not playing in it for 25 days. What does that mean?
Well, for that one, you've just taken the words out of my mouth. That's a different story. My point to just focus on the Europa is that's where you put your priorities to. Like I said, if there's 3 or 4 games until we've got a Europa match, then do you know what? Make the 7 changes. Make 11 changes. Put the weaker team out there because that league is done and dusted. Yes, if you want to get technical, we could get higher up. Are we really going to finish higher than 10th? No, because the results we need to go our way at the same time as well. We can't build our way there without other teams making some serious mess ups of losing another 4 or 5 games, which it doesn't look like will happen. So when it comes to prioritize, I say prioritize on the Europa. And again, by that, this situation, no, because there's international duty and there's a 25 game difference. So yeah, you put your full team out for this. But when you've got a gap of 4 games, like it usually is between the Europa matches, like a league match on a Sunday and a Thursday, then yeah, put your best players aside and focus for the Europa Cup. That's what I call focusing on it. But you don't go and do it when you've got a 25-day match gap, basically. Now, if we were 8th or 7th in the league and only 5 points away from 4th place, then you just got to give everything for everything. But we're out of everything now. That league is done and dusted. We need 3 or 4 teams to lose at least 4 to 5 games to even be lucky if we got 7th. It's not going to happen. So if you've got to prioritise between 2 games, again, I'll say it, with a 4-match difference, you put your second-hand team out for the league, you put your first-hand team out for the cup. But you don't do this.
So what you're talking about there, Dan, so what you're talking about there, for example, is when Spurs play Southampton on the 6th of April, and then we've got Frankfurt on the 10th, saying against Southampton, that's where you go, all right, Van de Ven, Romero, Maddison, Son, you guys all sit on the bench, and then you're going to play against Frankfurt, but not 25 days prior.
That's exactly what I'm saying. And what you've said there is what I call by prioritising the Europa Cup. But with a 25 game difference, that's just stupid. Again, he has shown that he can't change. He won't do it. It's not going to happen because he doesn't learn from his mistakes, which is obvious, and everything else and that. But what you've just said is exactly what I mean by prioritise the cup. Whereas if we could still get into 7th place, 6th place, 5th or 4th, say a 5-gap difference, then you put your strongest team there and the strongest team you can there as such, maybe bar a player, whatever, for fitness. But the situation we're in, it's only the Europa worth going for. But again, with 25 games difference, no, you give it your all for that league game.
I don't think it needs to have a that game against Southampton. I don't think we need prioritising. So we should be beating Southampton for me, and you know what I mean. You can use some of the players to keep their form up, and then go into Frankfurt more confident, as far as I'm concerned. But
if we
my issue with this manager. My issues with this manager, and I'm sorry to people that I've repeated myself, to anybody that's watched Mr. Box Office TV, that is back tonight, by the way. That, and I mean it this time. But yeah, I'm just getting a problem, and I think you can bring in Eddie Howe into this. You could bring Marco Silva into this. They go through bad things and they learn from it and they adapt.
Yes.
He's gone through bad things, Postecoglou, and then I saw everything I saw against Man United. Everything I saw against Man United, because we had how many days to prepare for the game, right? And that was practically like a pre-season. When everyone was saying that you didn't have any time to train or anything else, what do? We did the same thing, right? And then what got to me as well. It was before that game as well. Man City, when we won 4-0, right? And then you can even put Brentford into it as well. When we won 2-0, whatever we won. Yeah? We had the defensive performance. We were counter-attacking. What did he do? He goes back to what he was doing before. So, again, showing me he's got no clue of doing anything different, right? Which, again, goes back to why I say, right, it's either the players that have done this or someone's had a word. I think it's more the players have done it. More the players that just adapted because of the situation, like against Man City, like against Brentford, because that's all it is. Because the games that we've won in recent times, we've been very lucky. Very lucky.
Well, look, let me, I mean, Jose, let me bring you in here. Obviously, we're all of age. We're all of age here, I'm sure, where we can remember where the season was 42 games and not 38, right? Jose, I'm going to ask you this question. Off the top of your head,
I can remember 2 points for a win and 1 for a draw. So,
I mean, I'm not that old, but, you know,
one sub. I can remember the days of 1 sub only. Yeah, God, sorry.
Here's a question for you, right? So in 1993, 1994, right?
Yeah.
Spurs lost 19 league games, right? And that was in a 42 game season. Do you know, since it changed to 38 games, do you know the most number of defeats we've had in a season?
$20, isn't it?
Do you know? Sorry, I got kicked out there for a minute. Sorry, I missed everything. I just got kicked out. I'm back now.
Oh, no worries. Anyway, so in the 03-04 season, we lost 19 Premier League games.
Right.
Jose, are we looking to break that 19 this year? We're 4 defeats away from that record, and we've got some bloody tough games coming up. Are we looking to beat that? Not in a good way, not like it's a good target, but in your opinion, with the games we've got left, West Ham away, Wolves away, Liverpool away, Chelsea away, Forest at home, are we, Chelsea, the next game up, are we going to get to that 19 again?
With all the best will in the world, we don't want to get there. Right?
Sure.
We don't.
Sure.
No, we don't want to get there. But these players have returned. We've got a full squad near enough to pick from at the moment. Mm-hmm. By the time the international break comes, unless they get a crack over the head in the next 19 days, we'll have more players coming back as well after the break. However, results needed to improve 8 games ago.
Right.
9 games ago, 10 games ago. And we play so badly now that I don't see, and you can't see, for all the best will in the world, I still support my team and want them to win every game, but you can't see, with the way that we're playing football at the moment, you can't see where the next wing's coming from. We were hoping it would have been today. We were hoping it was going to be against Bournemouth. We were hoping it was going to be against Man City, and it just what you're doing is you're ticking off one game at a time, because you haven't got points in it. You've lost another game, you're ticking another game off. And then, as you say, we're down to the last 10 games of the season, or 9 games of the season, or whatever. And each one, even Southampton looks a hard game. Wolves looks a hard game. It doesn't matter about the other teams you've mentioned. Every game looks a hard game, because you don't know when you're going to get your next win. I mean, with all the money that we've got at Tottenham, couldn't Levy go out and buy us a fucking win? But there we go. You just can't see. I can't see it. The way that we're playing at the moment, I can't see the next win.
Yeah. I mean, look, Danielus, let me come to you just quickly. This is, I was saying this briefly backstage to see if I can explain this better. This is the first time for 20 years that in back-to-back seasons, we've lost more than 25 games across 2 seasons. And what I mean by that is, so far, last year he lost 12. This year he's lost 15 and counting. 27 defeats, Dan. And if I'm not wrong, 27, we've played 29 this year, plus the 38. What's that? 48, 58. What's that? We've played 68 games and he's lost 27 of them. It's absolutely disgusting, isn't it, Dan? Like, we're at the stage now where there can't be any excuses for him. I don't want to hear about recruitment. I don't want to hear about injuries. This is disgusting now, isn't it?
Oh, it is, man. It's so shocking that he's still in the job. I don't know what Levy and the Football Inside team there are seeing in him. Even fans are seeing things in him still. I don't get it. I don't get it. There's no evidence that we're improving. There's no evidence that we're a functioning side. We can't beat anyone good. We struggle against most teams. Yes, I know we beat AZ, but come on, it's AZ, right? 6th in the Dutch league, never won in England before in their lives. Even the players, and even if there wasn't a system, the players got us over the line in that one. It wasn't Ange for that. So it is disgusting. I've had enough. I mean, it's painful. It's so painful having to watch this week in, week out. And I'm just pray that he's sacked in the summer and we're getting a decent coach, because I do think there are some good players there, some up and coming youngsters, and with the right recruitment in the summer, we can go again next year and improve.
That sounds like a sentence I've heard over the years for about 30 years running. With the right recruitment and a couple of good signings, we could be a good team.
I know I'm dreaming, Savva. I'm dreaming.
No.
Look, that's all we can do, though, as Spurs fans, man, because we know the ceiling with Levy. We know Levy he doesn't want to win. He's not serious. He's never going to break the wage structure. You just hope the protests make some kind of difference. But what can we expect as a Spurs fan? A functioning team who can attack and defend. Try and challenge for a European spot and try and win a cup at the very least. But under Ange, we're doing nothing like that at all. So, I know it's not the best thing. I want to win things. I want to win leagues. I want to win Champions Leagues. But with Levy in charge, that's never going to happen.
I mean, look, I want to get to a conversation in a minute about his security of his job. Before I do, the last question I want to ask you guys, based on this whole Europa League versus Premier League, isn't when we just turn around and go, oh, there's nothing to play for anymore. When I see those comments in the section, what about all those away fans? What about those away fans who pay their money, travel up and down the country? What about those home fans that have paid, but they've paid for their season tickets? Surely we can't be that naive with 9, 10 before today, 10 games to go and go, do you know what? None of this matters. Surely that can't be right for those fans. Surely they're fans. They're not customers. We're fans, right?
Yeah, it's not right. Sorry, go on, Alex.
Yeah, no, you go, Dan. You go. No, Jose. You go. You go. You go.
For me, there's no dropping the ball about you've got to rest teams players for the Premiership. At the end of the day, you should be going full pelt and at full tilt to win every single game, regardless of what competition that you're in, regardless of the position that you're in the league, regardless of whatever state of the club's at. You need to be playing for the club, and you need to play for the fans because they're the paying customers, and you need to be providing for them. And we just haven't. We haven't. And it's like 1 week it could be one section of players, another week it's another section of players. But in general, it's just been fans. I mean, fans had a decision to make this week because they released the. I know they're frozen the season ticket prices, but fans have got a decision to make. Now, I know quite a few people, and I was quite sad to hear it, but I've heard quite a few people last week when the show was on saying that we're going to give up their tickets. This is before the price increase or no increase that comes in midweek. We're going to give up our tickets because we can't carry on supporting the club and watching the football and, you know, watching what the club does, where we haven't got the ambition. People seem to come to our club, and they come to our club, and it's gone are the days when you used to have your Perrimans, your Hoddles, people that played for the badge. Them days are gone, long gone.
Yeah.
For most teams, them days are long gone. It's paycheck players that come to your clubs now. And at the end of the day, whatever happens, if Tottenham get relegated this season, which they're not, but if they got relegated this season, then players are still getting paid their money. Mm-hmm. It's as simple as that. They're still going to get paid their money. So at the end of the day, I think as fans, all you ask for is your players to go out and show commitment to the badge and pride for the club they're playing for. Sadly, it's been lacking in a lot of for a lot of players. For me, that has been lacking. The players that I can turn around and say whether they've played whether they've played well or whether they've played badly, there are some players in the team that you know are playing for that shirt, you know, and are playing for the fans and are playing for the players. And I'm afraid to say it, it's quite obvious to me that it seems to be the youngsters seem to be the ones that want to play. They've got more to lose. They've got a career ahead of them. The older boys, they seem to think. Well, the older boys seem to think, well, I'll get my money here, and if they bin me and I get sold to another club, I'll just make my money elsewhere. I've already done my time, type of thing. I've reached 26, 27, 28, 29, 30 years of age. Well, I've made my money. Where these 18, 19, and 20-year-olds are just cutting their cloth at the moment and want to carve out their careers. So, you know, it's just really poor that the fans are being served up abject performance after abject performance. And to me, and I've made it clear any channel that I'm on, whether it's mine or anyone else's, the blame for me is shared around the club. I don't blame one area. I think that we are poor in a lot of different areas at the club. And, you know, I was saying on Dan's show the other day, there has to be an inquest. You have to have a lessons learned at the end of the season, and you have to rectify the shit show and the errors that have happened, not only this year, but have happened in previous seasons, but have got us to where we are now. We are an absolute poor, embarrassing team.
But I come at a different angle on this because what Ange has said. I don't think he cares because he says we don't support the club enough. We're not being supporters. He said. Well, no, he said. What did he say? He said fans need to step up and be the 12th man. He said, or something like that. So
when did he say that?
Well, no, something he said something. I can't remember the quote. I've kind of misquoted him, so I do apologise for that.
No. I know what you're saying. Yeah. He's always having a pop. It's always someone's fault, not his. Yeah. He had
a pop at the fans, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and then it's quite interesting, which is something that I think we're going to have to talk about. Who did he blame? Who did he have a go at today?
Sumo, wasn't it?
Yeah. Interestingly done that because what did you do to Werner that time? Yeah, because he knew the fans were like having a go at Werner, innit?
The day after, Alex, he said don't rip into the players publicly. If you remember, the day before he stated clear as day, you don't do that, and then he went and done it. Sorry, man, just making a point.
No, he's making a good point. But this is the thing; it's ironic now. Basuma's getting a lot of critics around him. All of a sudden now, now you see something spoken about Basuma. Interesting, that isn't it?
And it's funny
just coincidence, isn't it?
It's funny
Don't
how
you
it
think it's
seems like
funny,
the
though,
one
that-
that the players are turning on that he says something about as well, isn't it?
Exactly.
Well, but Dan, I'll use an Alex line here. I'll come at it from a different angle, right? Isn't it funny that the players he keeps calling out are the fringe players that don't play as much as the regulars that keep letting us down?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like Basuma's normally not really in the team. Werner's not normally in the team. Where's the criticism of? Listen, I'm not saying you should criticize everyone, but if you're going to do it, where's the criticism of Brennan Johnson? Where's the criticism of Son? Where's the criticism of Solanke, who's got 5 league goals in his last 18 league games? Why is it always the fringe players that are getting the criticism? Makes no sense.
It's what I just said. It's what I just said, Savva. Notice the ones he says something about are the ones that the fans always seem to have an issue with. Yes, of course, everybody, and none of it's personal. Even though people say you hate this, you hate that. No, I don't hate none of them. It's just if I think they're a shit player, I will blatantly state it. They might be the nicest person on the planet. Ange, I think he's a shit manager, but he's probably a diamond fella, and he'll probably buy you a couple of beers. Good, but he's a shit manager. But he seems to go for the players the fans don't like because he won't get sort of rebound off of it. That's what it looks like to me. And Basuma, I'd say he's a bit more than a fringe player as such, but I get what you mean. He does get chopped around a lot. And it all comes down to more reasons, like we had a chat about Basuma anyway. But yeah, he does seem to have a dig at the players that he knows he won't get. That. Imagine if he turned around and had a go at Son. So much of the fan base would lose their head. Like they can't even handle when we're saying Son ain't the same player he was and he shouldn't be captain. Think how many people, fans and that, would lose their head over it, and he'd lose another percentage of fans on his side. So yeah, it's easy to sit there and have a dig at Werner and have a dig at Basuma. You think, who's he going to have a dig at next? Because there surely will be another one.
Yeah, but Dan, you know who it will be. When he criticises next, it will not be any of the fan favourite. He won't criticise Kulu. It won't be Bentancur. It won't be Son. It will be someone that, because look, he's criticised Basuma, and immediately what it does, bearing in mind Basuma wasn't even on the pitch when we conceded 2 goals. He's criticised Basuma, right? Who I didn't even think was the worst player in the first half. I thought Bentancur was absolutely diabolical again.
Much worse.
Again, by the way, right? Because he'll say that, and what we all do is go, yeah, let's have a debate about how good Basuma is, right? If he did that about Son, you're right. Half the fan base would go, oh, but that's Son. He's a legend. He's one of us. He's a true hero. Blah, blah.
You can't do that.
But this is, aren't we seeing the signs now, gentlemen, that this is somebody very much under fire? Like, this is somebody panicking. He's had a go at fans about the Man City thing. He had a go at fans the other week for being too quiet and having no atmosphere. He had a go at fans for something else. He then ran over. He came over to the fans at Bournemouth and started round with them. Then he's having a pop at that guy under the, as he's going down the tunnel at White Hart Lane. You know, when you think, surely all of that, with the results mixed into it, tells you that this is a guy who knows he's doing an absolutely awful job. Awful job.
Well, you just have to look at his interviews, Savva. Just have to look at his interviews. I haven't listened to these interviews, but I see some of the quotes that I hear and see it from other fans. And just listen to him. He can't answer a question. He makes bad jokes, as far as I'm concerned. Right, the cringiest quotes I see from a manager, and for me, that's it for me. Like, I think he's living rent free in our club at the moment. For me, because he can't do no wrong in front of some of these fans that love him. Right, I heard after that game against Alkmaar, we don't see the bigger picture. I've been told, right. Even though Alkmaar had chances and they should have scored, right? But, we've beaten them because we should be beating Alkmaar. And so today, I think, well, for me, the excuses were ran out a long time ago with this guy anyway. But it's just goes so far bad that for me, like, I don't know what else to say, really. You know what I mean? It's like the whole thing with Archie Gray being in midfield. He was okay. He weren't great. You know what I mean? But everybody's saying that he. Well, I know, but I know, but from what I saw,
Yeah,
he wasn't fascinating. You know what I mean? Like Bergvall wasn't fascinating, but you can't say that to this fan base, because if you say that, like I got on one channel, which I won't name, but I'm not going to have a go at those guys because I love them, right? But you can't say it because the fan base will have a go at you. And the thing that annoys me about this fan base, when you say these things, they don't come back with football. Only one person came back with football saying about his stats, about his assist and what he done and on the ball and all that. But I'm sitting there saying, in context, this is against Alkmaar. What did he do against Fulham? Yeah, he looks good, has a little moment. But all I see from him again today, about a day, and this is because of Ange, I see him at the end of the match, going to the referee, and he's mouthing off. And the only person that said to him, mate, yeah, you're a good player. Mate, calm down, because you're going to get yourself sent off, bro, is Marco Silva. Marco Silva, the opposition manager. You get what I'm saying? So what's going on here? Where's the manager? Where's this postecoglou manager that everyone's telling me he's a long-term plan with this guy? You know what I mean? I was embarrassed. Marco Silva telling him to shut up, yeah? And my manager is just walking around like a zombie. Not even my manager, their manager. That don't turn up for debates. Am I talking sense or what am I talking like?
No,
you know what I mean?
I get it. I get it. Listen, I want to ask a question and chuck it out to you lot. We talked about this so many times, but we've got a 2-week international break. Isn't 19 days, to be precise, isn't tomorrow the perfect time to sack this manager, to give yourselves 19 days to get some sort of feel-good factor back into this football team and give ourselves a chance of winning that Europa League? Surely, guys. And even, I don't care, when people say, oh, but it'll be Ryan Mason. At the moment, Ryan Mason looks like Sir Alex Ferguson. That's how shit this manager is. Guys, sacking him tomorrow?
Of course.
Sacking yesterday.
But it's not going to happen. This is the problem. I've given up saying it now.
So it's not happening. It's not happening. It's unfortunately at the moment it's the Europa League, and even if we don't win Europa League, I don't think he's going anyway. I've just got this feeling right now, to be honest with you. But you know, I've done a long time ago, so but
Alex, when I reckon it gets to the point which at one point you could say it was 40-60, 50-50, or you'd say, I'd go at one point you could say it was literally 40-40, but 20, just call them random numbers, but 20 still sitting on the fence as such. I think even those people on the fence now are coming over to that side. And when it gets to the point by the end of the season, which I think we'll lose at least another 3 to 4 games, you're going to see the higher majority of like 75-25 wanting him out, and then Levy can get him out and get rid of him.
You want to bet?
And it won't be the same repercussions.
But Dan, if you want to bet,
rid of him
you want to bet? Because at the moment, from what I've seen from one particular one, I'm not going to name them, right? They ain't changing.
Right, so let's be really clear. You're talking about We Are Tottenham TV, aren't you? No. I'm not talking about them. I'm not talking about them. You know who I'm talking about, but I'm not saying from what I've seen, right? They ain't changing, and they're keeping on talking. So, for me, it's like it's just like time. They're just holding their nerve. They're holding their nerve. The moment.
Yeah, and a few supporters still will. But what I'm saying is, when it drifts over, like I would now say, you put a bet on between all the Spurs supporters on the planet out there, I would honestly say it is more Ange out than Ange in. Not as much as it should be Ange out, but I would say a majority are sitting on that fence. You've now seen half of them go to the Ange outside, which has made the Ange outside more powerful than the Ange inside. And then by the end of the season, when we don't win the Europa and we are in something like 13th, 15th to even 16th place, you'll have it 75% Ange in, 25% Ange out, and then Levy can go and say, well, I did hang on to him. I spent the money on him and he's got to go. What would you rather have on you? 50% of supporters on your back or 25?
But
That's where it then turns the fans against each other again, because you'll have those ones who will not change and did not want to change versus the other one, and it just puts another split down the middle. But it makes it
the
easier.
issue is, though, Dan, my argument is at the moment, though, right, and I've said this before, I do apologise again to people, because I'm saying this again, right, the Ange fans will say, we can get somebody worse than Ange. I believe they will, because unfortunately,
I don't believe there is anyone worse than Ange.
I understand what you're saying, but history tells you.
Name me a club in League Two. Any club. Shout out a name of a League Two club.
Charlton.
Poorly.
AFC Wimbledon.
I'm taking their manager. Because at least a manager of any other club will actually have the team set up like a team. I'm so upset that this guy is at our football. This is our football club, guys. This is our club, not his.
No.
We've been here decades. You got Jose talking about remembering when it was 2 points for a win. We've been here decades, right? This guy rocks up, does this badly, and I want to say, no, do you know what? Does this shit, and we've got these new Spurs fans. And shame on you older Spurs fans that are still sticking up for this. No other club in the country puts up with this. Name me one. Name me a club that's put up with this. West Ham sacked their manager. 6 months in and went, nah, you're not performing how we need you to. They brought in Potter. They're now level with us. Man United, nah, see you later, Ten Hag. You won trophies, but you're crap. Changed. Right? Who else? Who else has changed managers? Last year, Crystal Palace under Hodgson, not working. See you later, Glasner. In you come. Who else? Look at Wolves. Deep in, they were in the bottom three when Vitor Pereira arrived. They're now 9 points clear of it. Only Tottenham Hotspur sit there. And shame on those fans. Shame on those Spurs fans that still want this manager. They wanted this. Remember that. They asked for this. Some of us told them, this is what's happening at the club. This is how bad it is. They assured us. It's injuries. It's not injuries.
Savva, would you say that there's been a few fans, well, I say a few fans, a few channels that were hardcore Ange in that have actually got to the point though? Because I've seen a couple that are actually, yeah, enough's enough. I'd still wish it would work, but it ain't going to work. He needs to go. Because I have seen a couple change. Yes, there's others who are going to come stick by it, come hell or high water, because they just don't want to put their hands up and admit that they got it wrong, even though it shouldn't matter about getting it wrong or right. If anything, we wanted to be wrong about this, but that's where some people seem to think we want it to go wrong. No, we don't. But I have seen people on channels and that who were hardcore Ange in have got to the point now where they were on the fence and now they're on, my man's got to go.
So why is this bloke still here then? Why? Can anyone answer that?
Ask Daniel Levy. Ask Daniel Levy.
I think it's because
on your point, Dan. When people talk about Danlist, right? When people talk about, well, it's the Europa keeping him in a job.
It's not.
What's he actually done in the Europa? He's beaten nobody.
Been shocking.
AZ Alkmaar are probably the best team he's beaten in this Europa League. Let that sink in. If we're saying that's the reason to keep a manager, then our standards are worse than they've ever been.
Can someone tell me, correct me, someone needs to remind me, what position were we in when we sacked Jose Mourinho?
About
I think we're fifth or seventh or something like that.
Okay, so we were outside. We were outside the European spots, and we were in the final of a League Cup. If I remember, I'm not too sure if I'm right, but back then, didn't you get a spot in Europe for winning the League Cup?
Yeah.
Back then, them years ago. Now you don't get it, but you did back then. So for me,
you don't get it for winning the League Cup now.
No, now you don't. I don't think. No, you don't get it now.
You get Europa Conference League now.
Yeah, you got the Conference League, don't you?
I do get the Conference League, do you?
I don't know.
Conference League. Conference League was the team that finished 7th last
No,
season.
Conference League. Definitely Conference League.
Chelsea finished 7th last year and got the conference.
Yeah, Conference League, yeah.
Yeah, for
Does
finishing
winning the
7th in
League
the
Cup
league.
get you a place in Europe?
I don't think it does
It,
now.
it does. It does. I swear it does because I think it does, Jose.
They go into the winners of the EFL Cup are rewarded with a place in the playoff stage of the UEFA Conference League.
Yeah.
Our player stage.
But Chelsea finished 7th last year. They didn't win the Europa League,
Yeah,
did
you
they?
get 7th in the league, Conference
Yeah,
League.
that's what I thought. 7th in the league gave you Conference League. Anyway,
Yeah,
what I was
you
trying
do.
to the point I was
Yeah,
trying to make. The point I was
We
trying
can't
to
even
make.
get that this season.
Yeah,
Can't even get that.
The point I was trying to make is that I'm trying to remember when Mourinho got sacked before the cup final, and that back then that was an entrance into Europe. I think 6 years ago, whatever it was, that was an entrance into Europe. But that entrance is no longer there with the League Cup. But in the league, we weren't guaranteed a spot in Europe because we were 7th as well when he got sacked. Now, for me, I think something else is going on in the club, and I've said this for a while, right? Because everyone was saying they wanted Ange out and that. And I said, Ange is going to stay because they've changed the way they operate. I believe he would have pulled the trigger a long time ago if he was the same Levy that's been there for up until when we got rid of Conte. The same Levy would have hired sack managers. But something for me is going on at the club, behind the scenes, where it doesn't matter on the results, and it hasn't mattered on what gets done on the pitch, and that he still remains as manager. And I've got a feeling that whether you go out of the Europa League or not, Ange will be here till the end of the season. I don't know what it is, but it looks like they've changed the way that they operate at the club. Now, I don't know why that is. I don't know whether he's had people in his ear to say, look, you can't keep hiring and firing managers or whatever. But he's obviously changed the way that he operates. Unless it's Scott Munn, because he brought Scott Munn in, didn't he? And Scott Munn is a defender of Ange.
What does he do, Scott Munn? What's his role? What does he actually do?
Dan, I asked you that, didn't I, on your show? I said I don't know. If someone can tell me what he does,
What is his role?
I'm happy to learn because I don't know.
I don't understand it.
He sits on the board, but he's meant to sit on the board on the footballing side.
Listen. I agree, Jose. I absolutely agree with you. He's going to be here to the end of the season. That's not a lot. That doesn't take a lot. That takes a lot for me to admit that at the moment because I don't agree with a lot of people. So that's why I say I don't get used to it. But in my eyes, I just think it shows you that we haven't got a plan. And this is why I had to take a pinch of salt when Simon Davis said to someone about, they're planning a philosophy of, where whenever a manager has his day and needs to leave, they've got somebody else similar to move in, and bring on the project even more. You see what I'm saying? And there are coaches out there that are better at the moment. But I just think at the moment, history tells you at the moment that they just haven't got that plan. And it is embarrassing, the fact that you see things from Brighton, Fulham, Bournemouth in recent times, Leicester before, a couple of years ago. They've been able to have a plan in place, and have a strategy, and regardless whether they won anything or not. I mean, Leicester have won something. You've now seen with Newcastle, they've won something now. They've been able to do it with the facilities they've got, less facilities that they've got than we have, and they've been successful doing it, and we try to copy them. So it's just one of those things at the moment. But I just think at the moment, I think it's down to some of the fans because there's not an option to let it go. Football, that people think that we play great football. I don't think we play great football in my eyes. And I think also is that, they're trying a new strategy, maybe because that's Scott Munn and, the hierarchy. That's maybe what's happened. They've changed a little bit of their philosophy. The only problem is that they're backing the wrong man for me. They are backing the wrong man. That's my point.
I want to do some super chats. Then I want to bring up another subject. And by the way, yeah, I'm sure everyone's seen it now, but Man United are 2-0 up against Leicester City. Really good goal by Garnacho, which does mean that as things stand, people, we are 14th in the Premier League table, 3 points behind United, 5 points behind Palace in 12th. We are 7 points behind Brentford in 11th, and we are 10 points off of Bournemouth. Let this sink in. We are 10 points off of Bournemouth, who are in 10th. And if we look the other way, there's only 4 teams that have less points than Tottenham this season. And that is Wolves, Ipswich, Leicester, and Southampton. Let that sink in. There are 4 clubs with less points than Tottenham Hotspur. But the season's not done. We should be playing for pride. We should be playing to drive as high up that table as we can. This doesn't make sense that the season's done. This is not how sport works.
But Ange has done it, Savva. Ange with that lineup today showed you he doesn't care. He doesn't care.
He doesn't.
Apart from
but the owners should.
No, they should. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, the owners should definitely do it. But really, finishing 10th and finishing 16th is pretty much a number. In some aspects, it's, right, you finish 10th, not 16th, but you don't get nothing more or nothing less for it, bar 100 grand or whatever.
No, isn't it a couple of mil for each position in the league?
I didn't think it was that much from when it goes down from about 15th, but someone informed me. I don't know the exact numbers.
3.1 million every position.
Yeah,
3.1 million.
3.1 million per position. Yeah.
So yes, we should be trying to finish as high up that table so that there's more revenue.
We should be. I'm not denying that, but the season is done and dusted. Basically, we ain't getting above 10th place, come like it or not. So if he does have to make a decision with like 5 to 4 games left between the Europa and the league, then he's 100% should go for the Europa. But again, back to the start of what we said, if there's a 25 game difference, then you go to win that game like you do every other game. But the season is done and dusted, is it not?
I feel like I don't know. I don't like the wording of it. When we're saying the season's done and dusted, for me, we should be going full strength, looking at this and going, right, how do we rebuild ourselves? How do we go into next season?
Ange said it the other day, Savva. Ange said that.
How do we, I don't get this. What about, as we said just now, what about the people that have paid their money? We're saying the season's done.
Okay.
So what do those people get a percentage of their season ticket revenue back?
No, of course not.
Are the club going to turn around and go, right, there's 5 home games left or whatever there is. Right, we're going to give you the money back for that because the season's done. I don't like how we're talking like we're talking like we're Wolves or something. This is not right.
Well, whether it's right or wrong, there's a lot of things in life what should be, but just get done the other way. Look at it from the player's point of view. They're at a point now, personal opinion, are they going to put any extra effort into finish 11th or 12th than they do 15th? Yeah, maybe they should. Of course they should. They get paid for it, this and that, but they're not gonna, because it's really no relevance to them whether they finish 15th or 12th, basically. Either way, it has been a shockingly shit season. And at the end of the day, you're only human. You're not a bloody robot. Yes, they're getting paid hundreds of thousands. Yes, they should be playing their 100% every game. Yes, they should. But when you got the manager like that, and you're not being played to what you're good at, and as all you keep seeing is, like Maddison said, it's the same thing over and over and over again, you do end up losing your willpower. You do end up losing your fight. You shouldn't, but you do. And to me, it's one of those. It is what it is, basically.
I got a take on this. Yeah, I got a take on this. So say Levy, right, this season, right? Has this shown us? I know it started in the summer with the recruitment. Yeah, that poor recruitment in the summer. Has this season shown us that Levy? You remember we used to have this top 4 loving. Yeah, do you remember this? Always striving for the top 4. Has this season shown us that Levy does not care about getting top 4 or any type of Europe? Has things changed, like Jose has said?
I don't think it's changed. I just think he's just more worried about.
But what he would have sacked him, Alex. He would have sacked him.
I don't think it's changed. I think he's got people in his ear trying to more long term now. I think for me at the moment, I think the person that's driving this across is mainly more his team behind him, like Scott Munn now and all that. If Prodigy was in charge, if Prodigy was there, he would have been gone. He'd been gone.
Alex, are you basically saying that maybe, just maybe, Levy's actually done what he said and backed down? And
That's
said,
what I think. Yeah,
fine.
that's why I've not.
And what
that's
he's
why
gone and done is employ Scott Munn to do the job for him, like he said he was going to do. And again, he's employed a very shit person at the job. Could it actually be that Levy has stepped back? Yeah.
Well, this is why I'm saying that I have not been able to criticise him in that way, because he's done that's what I said. What did I say when Postecoglou came in? I need to see after having a bad run of games, and then see him back him, and then I'll back him as well. But it's come down the other way, where I was wrong by saying that, because I was basing it on Arsenal, right, with Arteta, because I just didn't believe us backing the manager anymore. But for me, he's doing what I wanted him to do back then. You know what I mean?
What are they backing on Ange's performance this season?
I agree with you. I don't agree with you. They should be backing him, no. But the point I'm making is that they are sticking with the guy, with Postecoglou, through bad times, because really, he should be gone. He should have gone. He should have been gone way earlier. He should have been gone way earlier for me, right? But unfortunately, I think the reasons that he has been staying here, and you've seen it in the press, was the injuries. Regardless what I think about the injuries, because you know what I feel about that, excuses, right? He's still, and they've kept him on because of that. They said, oh, when he gets his players back, this is the rhetoric that they're saying. Now he's getting his players back. It's not getting any better, but they're still sticking with him because they haven't. Because the alternative is Mason at the end of the day, so they're giving him more time, and that's it. What I will say though, if Prodigy was there, that's not his man. So he's sitting there saying, "Sorry, mate, you're gone. You're gone." You know what I mean? I don't need this.
Yeah, so if Paratici's ban finishes in June on the 25th, if Paratici is hired by Tottenham again as a full-time employee, Scott Munn leaves, Langer leaves, and Ange Postecoglou leaves, because Scott Munn's position will be taken up by Paratici. He will find a new Langer because he doesn't get on with Langer, and he doesn't like Postecoglou. He'll bring his own manager in. So it could well be, I don't know. We're just trying to throw ideas out there as to why they're not operating the same way he usually does, where he hires and fires managers for a lot lesser things. So, and I've said for a while now, guys, I think there's a lot more. There's a shit show going on at Tottenham, and there's a lot more than just one area. I think the whole area needs looking at, and stuff is going on. And
I mean, Jose, one thing I would say a high majority of Spurs fans have screamed for is just they want him to stick by a manager. And in some aspects, you can say Jan has, and he's gone and done it with the one that we all didn't want him to. At the end of the season, Levy can actually stand there and said, well, okay, maybe I should have sacked him, but a high majority of you Spurs fans were saying stick by a manager, so I did. And I've got rid of him now.
I hate this notion, not you. I hate this notion from
it's
fans.
Just ideas.
They say just
like Jose said, it's coming up with ideas. Basically, I think we're all just trying to.
We don't understand. We don't understand it.
For sure. Look, let me do some super chats really quickly. Big up to Blaine. Thank you very much. Said time for reality. Look at our run in this season. Apart from Wolves and Southampton, I don't see where else we win in the league, which would be 22 league defeats possibly. Yet people back Ange. I'll tell you what's even funnier, Blaine, is we're all looking at the league table going, I can't see where we're going to win games. And then people are going, well, let's go all out for the Europa League. Like I find that hilarious. Like we're looking at these Premier League teams going, can't win. Don't worry, though. We're going to rock up and beat all these European sides.
Doesn't work like that. Doesn't work like that.
No, I agree. And do you know what? Just quickly off the back of this, I'll tell you the point I hate, gentlemen, and I will get to the super stickers before we answer this. I hate this notion that we can just rest and do whatever we want in the league, then suddenly put the best 11 together and they're all in form and they're going to play well together. I feel like when people are saying just concentrate on the League Cup, I don't think people have ever... If you speak to any athlete, any football player, any consistency, if you play your best team on the Wednesday and then put them out there and they get a win and you go out there on a Saturday, the confidence, the build up, that relationship. I don't think it works that on the Wednesday you go, right, let's make 5 or 6 changes. And then the Sunday, right, well, let's go back to the team we actually want. I feel that's really, really bad for momentum in my opinion. And speaking with, it doesn't work like that. It just,
let me give you a quick question.
Hang on, just quickly. We've seen that this season.
Sorry.
Anyone remember Galatasaray?
Yep. Awful.
And then we played Ipswich at home with the best 11.
Awful.
Right? We've seen it loads of time. It doesn't work. You've got to have consistency in there. They've got to be playing together regularly. You've got to have the same partnerships. All of this
Savva,
rotating, and then suddenly we think we're just going to rock up at Stuttgart and go, boom, there's our supposed best 11. Doesn't
but
work.
Also, these players, they've been injured and they've come back, so they've been rested. So they should have energy. Some of these players have been out for months.
Yeah, but then that means they're going to come back on the pitch rustier than ever. You can be 100% fit, but if you haven't played for 5 or 6 games straight, you're still rusty as anything on a pitch.
Yeah, that's why they need consistent games, Dan. Don't they? They need to have 2 or 3 games in a row.
Of course they do. But look at it from this side, yeah? I'm just call it being devil's advocate, yeah? If you want to get technical, we can win that Europa Cup. There's nothing that says you cannot tell me for a fact it is not going to happen. Yeah, we can be 99% sure it ain't going to happen because it ain't. But you can't tell me for a fact it's not going to happen because we're not at that point yet. What I can tell you for a fact is that the league is done and dusted and we ain't going to get in a European position on there. And if he, say for instance, we had a game in 4 days' time in Europa and he went and played Van der Ven, who's slowly off his way off an injury and Van der Ven went and got another injury. I bet you there'd be a majority of Spurs fans out there screaming, why did you play him when we've got the Europa Cup coming up, which we can still win?
Sure. But if you've got a situation like Van der Ven, that's different. But not all the players, none of the other players are in the position of a Van der Ven. Like, let's put it this way. Imagine we've got, so the Southampton game we play on the 6th and then Stuttgart we play on the 10th. Right? Why would we not be able to say, right, Son and Maddison, I'm just going to chuck names out there, Son, Romero, Maddison, all start on the 6th and the 10th? Are we saying that these guys have played so much football that they're not capable of playing 6th and then having 4 days off and playing again? I'm just not.
Ange doesn't know how to manage it. He doesn't know how to manage it, Ange. He doesn't have a clue how to manage it, I think.
I agree. I agree, but we've got this, like, okay, so let's flip it, guys. Actually, I'll tell you what, can I do these super chats and then I will flip it, right? Just someone say to me Champions League in a minute. Right, Anthony Clark, big up to you, my man, who's given a generous super sticker. I think that's his 3rd or 4th for the day. So really appreciate you, Anthony. Thank you very much. Scott M, everybody's favourite Scott M, has said when Poch was in the Champions League final, the Premier League season still mattered. Jose in his final, the Premier League mattered. How on slot this year? Only Ange. I completely agree with you, Scott. I've never known a fan base or ever talk about, well, the league's done. It doesn't. I don't get this.
We're in a slightly different situation, Savva, compared to what with the other 2 that he's mentioned.
But it shouldn't matter. We're Tottenham bloody Hotspur. This is not Sunday League. We are not a team. Listen, it's different. If you were, let's say, great goal, Bruno Fernandes, 3-0. Let's say we were Leeds, right? Let's say Leeds next season come up, right? You would fancy them to win that league. Leeds come up, and let's say with 10 games of the season left, they're not going to go down. They're not going to go up. They're not in Europe. I get it. Take your foot off the gas. Do what you've got to do, right? You've come up. You're safe. We're Tottenham. We charge the highest ticket prices, one of the highest ticket prices in world football. We charge the highest shirt prices, if I'm not wrong, in world football. And we're just going, yeah, it's all right. Just take your foot off the gas. It's the league. The league's done and dusted.
I'll never have this. I'll never have this from anyone.
I'll never have it either, Dan. I feel
never have it. Never.
This fan mentality like that is why the owners don't need to buy better footballers, because we haven't got that mentality. Our mentality is the league's done. Don't worry. No, surely, I'm going to rant now. Surely this manager should be going into his dressing room, right, in the training ground and going, guys, we have been abysmal, right? I'm going to take the blame on that. You're going to take the blame on that. But those fans don't take the blame on that. We have got 10 games left this season. You guys go out there and show them. You guys go out there, get some wins, show them. Yeah. Go and be difficult to beat when we play West Ham away, Wolves away, Villa away. Go and be difficult. Not, well, the season's done. Don't worry, I'm just going to rotate and we'll put it in when it matters against Stuttgart. Nah.
Let me put it a different. Okay, fair enough. I mean, I agree with you, but let me put this in a different way to then. What would you do in this position, in the aspect of, right, we've now got a game against Southampton that can take us into 14th place or 13th. Great. Or you've got a game in 4 days' time which can get you to the semi-finals of the Europa. What decisions are you going to make? Are you going to put a full-out team for Southampton, risk an injury or two, because it does happen, and then you won't be able to put your full-out team in a game that can put us in the semi-finals? What would you do?
I want to answer that as well. I want to answer that.
There's many games before, like if we're talking purely just before that Southampton game.
That's more what I'm on about. This game, he should not have done it, 25. But when it comes to the game, I'm saying a 4 game difference.
Okay, so let me flip it on. Let me flip it on you just quickly. I would be trying to put out as close to strength as possible if they're fit, because I would say, right, guys, this is the 11 I'm going to go into Stuttgart. Yeah, I want you guys in sync. I want you guys used to playing with each other, right? Now, I'd say, all right, Mickey, how's your hamstring? It's a little bit tight. All right, I'm not going to worry about you today, right? But I'm not going to have this. So what, we're playing from Southampton to Stuttgart, so 6 or 7 of the first team players have to sit on the bench. They could get injured in training. They could get injured walking down the road. This injury excuse is getting just so crazy. And the last thing I'll say on this, right? The last thing I'll say on this is, it won't be the last thing, but I'll say on this is, we're all sitting here going, well, we'll go all out to win the Europa League. Cool. Brilliant. We've won the Europa League. What do you qualify for if you win the Europa League?
Okay. Let me give you another point. What do you qualify
for? Hang on. I'm in the middle of making a point.
League.
Right.
Champions
so
League.
Next season, you're in the Champions League, right? So what are we going to do? Every time before a Champions League group game, we're going to go, we're going to leave 5 or 6 of our best players out.
I get that.
Sense.
Let me turn this on you again. Should Jose Mourinho have got the sack before the final?
Of course not.
No?
Of course not.
Why did he get the sack?
Huh?
Why did he get the sack?
Well, depending on which report you listen to, it was the players he wanted to.
Okay. When you look at the majority of the reports and what he admitted himself to an extent, it was because he wanted to play he didn't want to play a fully fit team in the game before the final. And Levy said he wanted him to do that because he still wanted him to have a chance of getting in Europa or Champions League. And Mourinho got the sack for it. It's what Mourinho wanted to do. And Mourinho is a world-class manager.
I mean, if that is 100% the reason, then that's crazy, right? But the difference is we're a team trying to play our way into some sort of form. I don't understand how fans think, Dan, that we can be in terrible form, then just suddenly rock up to Stuttgart and go, let's turn it on. You've got to play your way into form. We've had the analysts summed this up. The analyst summed this up when he first came on. We had a good result Thursday. Yeah, it wasn't the greatest opposition, but we had a good result. The second half was good, and we started to play some football. You're coming into this game going, let's go again. Let's do the same thing. Nope. Maddison, who pulled all the strings, dropped. Yeah? Son, who had a good second half, dropped. Odegaard scored 2 goals, had a good game, dropped. It doesn't make sense. I don't know if fans think that you're just going to rest everyone and then suddenly, boom. That's not how sport works. It's not how it works.
No, but I think it just comes down to the fact of that maybe you just don't want to risk getting your players injured or whatever else. I'm not saying anything's wrong or right, but I could understand it if there was a 4-game difference. But with 25 games, I don't understand why he's gone and done that. Whereas if it was 4 games, I could understand it, is basically what I'm saying.
I know, but there isn't. There's 10. Before today, we had 10 league games. Before today, you could win 6 of your 10 league games, and who knows, right? I'm not saying we would have, but you could go on a run, win 6 of your 10 league games, You don't know. But this defeatist attitude of the league's done. I'm sorry, Dennis, I know you want to come in. I think you're like me. I'm not having this at all. We're a pro football club. I'm not having this.
Unfortunately, what I've been hearing, Savva, is that some fans don't care about winning. They don't care. They just want to be entertained, right? There's a lot of fans with different expectations for their team, right? And I've learned to understand that a lot since coming onto YouTube, right? But there's no way we're going to suddenly start playing well. Yeah, the way to start to play well is that you build momentum in league matches. You play your strongest team possible and start getting on some form. And I was expecting this game today against Fulham an improvement from the AZ game. Yeah, played a similar team, improve the performance, build that momentum. You got a bloody tough game against Chelsea after, and I thought, and I saw this like this. Now the second leg's away to Frankfurt, right? That's going to be a really tough game. So I was hoping that Ange and this team would use these two games to really start getting their act together. Away to Fulham, and then it's going to get harder away to Chelsea. But what we've seen today is Ange doesn't seem to care, and he's made so many changes. The team's lost complete momentum, and it's a complete mess. So I don't have this. I don't have this.
Dan, let me let you know something, right? So they've just put up on the screen who the man of the match is for this game, right? This is relevant, by the way. So Bruno Fernandes has just won man of the match, right? Bruno Fernandes has got 2 assists and 1 goal tonight, right, for Man United. Man United are also in the Europa League. Man United are also, before today, level on points with Tottenham Hotspur. Why are Man United not dropping absolutely everyone? And why is Bruno Fernandes, and people in the chat, you can help me with this. I haven't got any stats in front of me. Someone tell me the last time Bruno Fernandes did not start a game for Man United.
Don't know. It's been a while now, hasn't it? He's actually been quite consistent, hasn't he?
So why are Man U? So why have Man U gone there? Put their best team out available to them. Yeah, when they've got Europa League as well, they're in the same position as us. Why are they not going? Oh, don't worry about it. We're just concentrating on the Europa League. Pride.
Yeah, but I'm just telling you why he's probably done well today. He should not have done it, but I'm just saying why I would understand if he'd done it with 4 games difference. What he done today, I just do not understand why he did that. He's got plenty of time, plenty of space, everything. The point I keep making is if there was a 4-game difference, would I make 7 changes? No, but there'd be a few players that I might keep off because I want them 100% fit for a cup I can still win. I'm just trying to come up with reasons, basically, on why they might do it.
I think it's quite simple. Sorry to interrupt you, Dan, but I think it's quite simple. I think he's worried about injuries now so badly because he knows his tactics are affecting the players a lot. And that's why he's protecting Romero and Van der Ven, because he knows the criticism is going to come across to him that if they come back fit again, that he's going to get criticism again. And you mentioned Manchester United. Manchester United have got a lot of injuries themselves right now. They're using youngsters at the moment, right? But they're still playing a full team, and I don't see their manager complaining about injuries.
I don't see them going today. Oh, Bruno Fernandes, just come and sit on the bench. That's what we're doing.
Exactly. That's the point. That's a fantastic point. That's the point. And by the way, Fernandes, gets criticised by Man United fans a lot. Gets scrutinised a lot.
And he scores all their goals and gets all their assists.
And also gets them trophies as well, unlike somebody that left Tottenham to go to Bayern Munich, by the way, that still hasn't won a trophy, by the way. Again, great striker, but still hasn't won no trophies, by the way.
He's basically won that league,
to win the league. He's about to win the league. So don't
okay, well, when he wins the league, I'll give him some flowers. But, still, it's been way too long. But the point I'm making is, though, right, you see big club mentality from Manchester United, right, from their manager, because he knows where he's coming into. But with Ange, he gets away with it so easily, you know what I mean? And like I said, you saw the criticism. You see what the difference between the two clubs. Even though we're both doing badly at the moment, we've been, I think Ange is really worried about injuries because he knows that criticism is going to come across to him, and that's it. Sorry, Dan, go carry on, mate. Sorry.
The last thing I'll say of it, because I've got to jump quickly then, is, again, I'm not making none of it right. I think some people are taking it wrong. But in Jose's position, in Ange's situation, in Jose's situation before he got the sack, would you agree that he would have been right to leave 4 or 5 players out when the next game would have been a final?
If the next game was a final, absolutely. If we're talking
we're
about
not
the
there yet.
final,
We're not nowhere near that.
minutes away from glory.
I'm just asking the question.
Yeah, no, I know. I'm just answering. Final, yeah. If you said to me, right, let's wrap everyone in cotton wool this week for a final, sure. What am I wrapping everyone in a cotton wool for a quarter final? Like,
no, I agree in that one.
Yeah, I don't get it.
He shouldn't be doing it. He shouldn't be doing it.
Maybe it's just how Ange's looking at it. I'm just doing pretty much what everyone else is doing, and that's clutching at straws of maybe.
Dan, we just don't know, mate, do we? Ange, we just don't know.
So I might be right, you might be right, Savva might be right, Jose, Alex, or any of us might be right or wrong on this. Do any of us know what's going on?
No, we don't.
Listen,
especially with what he's done today.
You can read between the lines, Dan. I know what's going on myself because that's why I'm not interested anymore with him at the moment, with the team at the moment. You can read between the lines because you've not been in football so long. But the thing is, like, you can read between the lines. One thing I will say at the moment, right? People are going to make excuses for today. They'll say, "Don't worry, it's Europa League."
Alex, they've made the excuses before the game. But I did a short this morning on YouTube, right? And it literally said Spurs must beat Fulham, no excuses. I.e., we've won midweek, get the momentum, keep Odegaard and Maddison in there, they're good games, keep the momentum, no excuse. I was told, Dan was told, Jose was told, Dan was told, Alex was told, when these players come back, the performances are going to get better and the results are going to get better.
Yeah.
Now that that's not happening and people know they've been very wrong about this manager, it's now switching to every excuse under the sun. The ball is too round. The grass is too green. The PA system was too loud. VAR, the refs, that was a dot. What are we doing? We're Tottenham Hotspur, guys. I've got to remind everyone, this is not, no offense, we're not Millwall. We are not a team. We're not a team that are about to be promoted for the first time in the history. We are Tottenham Hotspur, and our whole fan base has turned into, not our whole fan base, a large portion of our fan base have literally turned into, don't worry about it, write the season off. What? What are we doing?
I think fans are so down. Just so fed up, aren't they? They just don't care anymore. Not me, but I think fans
last
are.
thing I'll say before I jump, I think the thing is with me, the season is done because we can't really do nothing with it. Yes, we can play for a bit of pride in that, but if I'm going to be honest, do I really give a shit about the results now? No, because they're not going to take us any further than that. Do I want us to win? Of course I do, but I'm not so bothered in it as if it was a game where we could get into 7th or 6th place.
Yeah,
I think the season is what Dan said.
I think Daniel's saying it as well because of the manager.
But Dan, where I'll tell you where that's a little bit flawed. Granted, that's your opinion. If you now step away from being a football fan and let's look at your opinion, right? Footballers who might want to join this club next year, they'll give a shit. They'll look and go, what happened at the end of last season? Oh, well, Spurs lost 7 or 8 games in their last 10, right? The money point of view coming in. Now, I'm not an accountant, right? But 3.1 million per position. The difference between finishing 15th and 10th is 15 to 18 million, depending on where you finish. Yeah. This is the sort of money you can use to sack the manager. This is the sort of money you can use to go and pay managers out of their pools. Like,
but I can't say I'm that bothered about. I can't say the games are bothering me that much anymore because it's just been the same thing over and over again for over a year. Am I really bothered that we lost today? To an extent, I'm past caring because nothing has changed and it ain't going to change until Ange disappears. I'm not going to sit there and start nearly throwing a beer at the fridge like I would at the TV like I would have, say, 3 years ago. Because I'm just at that point where, it's done, mate. We can't get anything out of it. I've lost my faith, like Dan said. I'm like, and I think a lot of people will vouch on that they're not. It's got it that far. You're not surprised about nothing. You're not
It's
that
horrible.
bothered that we lost anymore, like you would have been if we was fighting for 4th or 5th or whatever. It's because Ange just totally destroyed this with his system and that. I can't
Suck
say
the
I'm
life
that
out
bothered
of
anymore.
people.
If I'm going to be
Savva,
honest.
I'm saying the same thing as Dan. I'm saying this is the thing. This is what Dan's saying.
I've got to shoot anyway. I'll speak to you later.
All right, mate.
Take
Cheers.
it easy, man.
Savva, what he's just said there, Dan, right, is exactly how I feel at the moment, and it's not. It's just because I've seen this before, and the manager's done me. He's done me for a long time now. I've had enough of him, right? I've just passed caring myself, and it's Dan's. It's what Dan's saying at the moment. You know what I mean? It's not. We can't do any more, but we're doing at the moment. Yeah, we can't do any more than what we're seeing at the moment. You know what I mean? And it's
like we're still fans. Like I don't want to see like. There are aspects of it which are funny when we lose because it's like, oh my God, again. But I'm hurting inside as a fan. The reason I'm so adamant, and I have been for well over a year, Alex, as you know, that I want this manager gone, is I want to be proud of my team. I want to come out of a game and go, do you know what? All right, we lost today, but bloody hell, we gave it a good go. Bloody hell, look at the football we played. Bloody hell, look how well organised we are. At the moment, Alex, the more we're going, oh, it just doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. This notion, we can't say things like we don't care and the league's done and then turn around and go, get Levy out. We've got high standards. Well, which one is it? Have we got high standards or do we just not care? Like if you've got high standards, have high standards for everything. It can't be one or the other, right?
I hate losing. I hate losing, guys. Absolutely hate it.
You're saying, okay, cool. I understand that, but I can have high standards for anything that in life. But my point is that what is their standards? They need to start looking at themselves right now. You know what I mean? I can't push them any more than what I'm saying at the moment. I can say what I'm saying at the moment, right? Okay, but you've seen what some of the fans are saying back to me. You get what I'm saying? So there's only so much I can say. There's only so much I can say. I can't control the situation anymore. You see what I'm saying? So I'm just sitting there saying, I completely understand because I'm feeling this. I'm doing the same things. You see a different side to Mr. Box Office right now, don't you? You see a completely different side to Mr. Box Office right now because you're sitting there saying, I ain't that bothered anymore. I ain't shouting a lot anymore because it's like, how many times I'm shouting the last 4 years, 5 years hasn't made a difference. I'm now looking at the history and saying,
Alex, I understand that. But do you know what? There's that saying in life, isn't there, that you can't control what others do, but you can control what you do. And my standards are as such that do I think listen, like Dan said this earlier. Yeah, I want to be winning leagues, but we're realistic enough to know that that's not who we are. But we're 14th in the Premier League. There are 4 teams in this country in the Premier League with less points than us. 4. I can't sit there and go, yeah, don't worry. I'm not bothered anymore for it. I'm pissed off. I'm embarrassed. I'm at the point where I'm on other panel shows, guys, I'm having to laugh and take the piss out of Spurs myself so they don't take the piss out of me. I can't go on a panel show, guys. What could I possibly... Tomorrow I'm on 2. What could I possibly go on a panel show tomorrow and debate other clubs about Spurs? What could I possibly say to Arsenal fans, to Chelsea fans, to Liverpool fans, to Villa fans, to United fans? United, our fans, we've got people like, that crazy Matt who always comes in here going, imagine you could have done what Man U done and sacked Ten Hag for Amorim. They're above us. They're above us, and this isn't even his squad. They're above us. Like, at what point do the standards have to remain?
Savva, what you just said is exactly how I feel at the moment, right? But the thing is, though, I choose now, like my boy Kluver, big up to Kluver every single time, right? Just saying, why should I can't do anymore. I haven't got the heart anymore. You know what I mean? To sit there and say, do any more to say. You just said it yourself. You can't go on a panel. There's no point you being on a panel show and you can't even say anything to them. It's like you're making fun of Tottenham because you're being yourself at the moment. There's nothing else to say on it, can you? You can't say to these people, "Oh yeah, you know what? You know what? I'm really confident we're going to do something. We're actually not that bad, you know." To some of these Arsenal fans, Man United fans, Chelsea fans, Liverpool fans, even though they lost today, you can't say anything, can you? Because you're generally just making it up because you're sitting there saying, "Well, when you look at it, no, it's terrible. It's been like that for so long." So I'm sitting there saying, I mean, it's now time for them to show me something. Give me something now. You know what I mean? Show me. Prove me wrong.
I hear you. Look,
Prove
I
me
do
wrong.
need.
Sorry, mate.
Alex, I do need to end the show because I'm going to redirect everybody over to Tottenham away for their show that's starting in a minute. It might have just started. I'm going to redirect you over there. When you go over there, please type in Savva Raid just to show the love. Just before we do, big up to Ben, who's been a channel member for 9 months, the old mod father, said the worst manager I've ever seen managing Tottenham. This guy is the biggest bozo. He hates us. He hates anyone who questions him. Worst manager ever. Can't disagree, Ben. Can't disagree with that. And then Ian JD, who said, if Ange stays, he gets us relegated next season. Mate, Ian, I'm just going to say this. I don't even care, Ian, now, if he wins the Europa. I do not want this manager at Spurs long term. We've seen over the course of a season that he gets worse and worse as seasons go on. And he's proven it again this year. Listen,
Savva, I agree with you there, by the way, because I said the same thing you were saying, by the way. If he wins Europa League, I want him out still. So you were absolutely spot on.
For me, it doesn't make up for how crap he is. It doesn't. So far, he's had a very comfortable route to the quarterfinals.
But the same manager, if he gets Champions League, in the same scenario, we're going to have the same excuses, and it's Champions League. You know,
Exactly.
Again, I apologise to people that I've repeated this again. By the way,
scary thing is, he'll get that job he'll keep the job by default. That's the scary thing.
That's the point. That's the point. The same excuses that we had this season will be next season, but we'll be in Champions League, and we're going to have to play a proper team in the Champions League, aren't we?
Our fan base do this loads. We're desperate for Europe. We're desperate for Europe. We're desperate for Europe. We celebrate Europe, and then all of the next season when we're in Europe, that's the reason why we can't win games before Europe or after Europe. It's like, if you want to get into Europe, don't then use Europe as an excuse. That's what the big boys do.
That's the point. Exactly the same I say.
For decades. They've been doing this for decades. Stop. Listen, when I can't even go on anymore. Anyway, guys, listen, Jose, thank you very much. The silent assassin comes in with deadly points every now and then. Thanks for coming on, mate. Appreciate you. Thank you,
Savva, for having me. Thanks to Dan, the other Dan, Alex, and everyone in the chat. Keep liking and subscribing to Savva FHTV.
Yeah, thank you very much. Big up. And please, if one of my mods would put Jose's link in. I mean, you must be so close to 1,000 now, Jose, right?
130.
Guys and girls, let me get your link. If someone could put the link in for Jose, please, can we show some love and get some subscribers and to the Dan list? What's your next milestone, Dan?
Oh, well, I'm at 635. So, yeah, any subs, man. It's slowly growing.
We can get that to at least 700 surely tonight. Look how many of you are in here. And please subscribe to Mr. Box Office, who's always growing. He always entertains you. Please subscribe to Alex as well. Guys and girls, for me, I'm at 135 away from 17,000 now. If any of you would subscribe, please do. And smash the like button. Here is the link to my channel, if anyone would be so kind. There's the link to Jose's. Thank you very much, Ryan G. There's the link to Jose's. If someone could put the Dan list in as well. Let's go on a subscribing spree. Share the love. Show the love, whether you agree with everyone or not. And thank you very much. I appreciate all of you. Take care. I'll be back tomorrow at 10 a.m. And as always, come on, you Spurs.
Good night.